Welcome to Durbania Live. I'm Durbin.
I'm Daniel.
It's my brother-in-law. We just got out of Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yes, so we did.
We are now going to review this movie completely spoiler-free.
Which is going to be difficult.
It is going to be difficult because there were so many things to like about this movie and so many things to want to dive into.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, so we'll just start with the overall thing here. So, Spider-Man Homecoming, what did you think overall?
Overall, I think it really captured Spider-Man the way that I grew up with him.
I am the Game Boy. I freaking loved it, but it's so late. I'm going to sleep now. LOL. Well, good night. I am the Game Boy. Continue on with your thoughts.
Yeah, so I think that this Spider-Man captures the Spider-Man that I saw in comics growing up.
Yeah.
This is the silly Spider-Man. This is the tongue-in-cheek Spider-Man. This is the Spider-Man you got a very short preview of in Civil War. So if you saw Captain America Civil War, you already have an idea of the kind of Spider-Man you're in for in this, and they deliver on that Spider-Man in spades.
They do.
They really heap onto that, and I love it.
Oh my gosh. And it's funny because even me who did not grow up reading the Spider-Man comics and things like that, there's such a genuineness to the performance and such a genuineness to what you're watching. It's like, this is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I may not have read the comics. I may not have known too much before, but I'm watching this. I'm going, this is the Spider-Man I always wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, it was just so good. And there were so many things that were so good. I mean, first off, okay, so let's talk Michael Keaton, because he's Michael Keaton.
Yes, he is. And there are so many things that have already been done on the internet. If you've seen any of the lead up to this, you've seen the people with the pictures of Michael Keaton from the trailer threatening Spider-Man, and he says, well, what are you going to do? And he holds up a picture, and it's Batman, because Michael Keaton has played Batman.
I haven't seen those. I gotta look this up.
I'll have to find one of those for you. But and then you also have the fact that Michael Keaton played Birdman, which is hilariously funny.
Yeah.
If you realize that he plays this aging superhero performer, and then he comes into this as, I almost want to call him an anti-villain.
Yeah.
I almost want to call him an anti-villain, not because he's not a villain, because he decidedly is a villain.
Yeah, he is a villain.
But I really want to call him an anti-villain because he's doing villainous things, but he's doing them for reasons that I can totally get behind.
Yeah.
And reasons that I understand, and reasons that people justify much worse things than what he does. So.
Yeah, I agree. And it's interesting because it gave you that degree of likability, because number one is Michael Keaton.
Right.
So he's Batman, he's Birdman, and now he's doing this, you're already going to like him.
Right.
But then number two, like what you just said, he is a bad guy. He's doing decidedly bad things, but the motives behind it, like his reasoning, it's all good. And so it makes him very, very interesting. And it's I get his bitterness.
Yeah.
I don't agree with it. It's stupid. It's annoying. It's that, the rich rewrite all the rules, and so blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, whatever. But at the same time, he pulls it off so good, and you understand, like, you felt his frustration, and I
really
like
did.
that. Yeah.
You really did. And I'm not sure that anybody aside from Keaton could have pulled that off.
Yeah.
Right? Seeing anybody else play that character would have felt like
Ryan O'Toole, loved this movie. Tom Holland is on my favorite Peter Parker Spider-Man. Michael Keaton as the Vulture was amazing. Best MCU villain since Loki, and the Thing disappeared. But I agree with everything that I read, Ryan. Yeah.
Oh yeah. This is easily the best, the most sympathetic villain that Marvel has given us to date.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly agree with that.
And without any spoilers, the whole thing beginning to end between Spider-Man and Vulture is very good.
Yes.
It is very good. The reason the Vulture doesn't like Spider-Man and he's targeting Spider-Man over Iron Man or anybody else, and they gave you good reason why he's a Spider-Man villain and not an Avenger villain in this universe.
Right.
And I thought that was really cool.
Right, and why he specifically would go after Spider-Man and continue to do so, even though, at some point, some aspect of the Avengers are going to get involved, because that's where Spidey really gets his start in this particular MCU.
Yeah.
In this particular universe. So yeah, it's you expect to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think another thing that fueled this movie was Spider-Man in the MCU. It added to me so much to it, and I love the whole high school aspect of the story. It was a straight John Hughes movie. Can you agree with that? Like, it had a little bit of a high school, maybe John Hughes feel. I mean, granted, they had the clip of Ferris Bueller in there.
I was gonna say, they almost. Sorry, that's spoiler territory right there.
I'll stop. That doesn't really blow any other scenes.
I don't want to get into spoiler territory, but I can see where you're coming from on the John Hughes thing. It really does have that kind of 80s high school vibe, the awkwardness. But I think the 80s actually nailed high school awkwardness in a way that movies have not managed to do ever since then.
And this one did a good job nailing it again.
Yes, it did. And as we were talking on the way out of the theater, I really do feel like, because this is a superhero movie and because they're dealing with the awkwardness of high school and everything else involved, I feel like they didn't just turn this up to 11, they cranked it all the way up to 12.
There were some great awkward scenes.
They took the awkwardness to incredible heights just to really make Spider-Man the least comfortable they could manage. And to make it as awkward and horrible for him as they could.
What I loved about it is, okay, I'm in my 30s, but I'm watching this and I could think back to my high school years and I'm like, okay, I haven't had it in the superhero realm of awkward, but that type of awkward I get. I've been it. And so, like, there's times where he's in those awkward situations, I'm cringing with him because I'm like, I've been there.
Yeah.
And they did a really good job recreating that feeling for me, which, the other thing, so what I liked about this is he had teenage angst, but I didn't feel like he was angsty.
Agreed.
And the other thing I liked about it is, what they did with this was, without going into spoiler territory, he's talking with Stark, you see in the trailer, he's talking with Happy. So he's got these two people as kind of his mentors and connecting points.
And they're horrible mentors.
And it's like, Happy, who's so funny in the other movies, that humor doesn't work. It works for this movie, it's perfect, but yes, you did make it. Yes.
Welcome.
Welcome.
We're not done yet.
It's just like, but like the fact that the adults weren't listening to him. And I get it because, he's a teenager and he made some mistakes. He made some pretty big mistakes, and I could get where it's like, it's a little annoying and he keeps calling us. So let's, whatever we can to get off the phone. But at the same time, it's like, they ignored him at key points. Where, I was angry with how much the adults weren't taking him seriously until,
Yeah. And we're flirting with spoiler territory.
Yeah, and that's why I'm getting really frustrated. So I'm cutting it back. But it's
we're done with that exploration. We'd love to talk more about it, but that goes way off into spoiler territory.
But it's a real frustration.
It is.
Yeah, and they did a good job.
And it's the kind of thing you half expect going into a movie with a high school superhero, right?
Yeah.
He's in high school. You half expect that none of the adults in this world are going to take him seriously. The thing that I loved about it,
the humor went there. Private parts. LOL. Yeah, it did.
I'm trying to remember that, and I honestly don't remember that part of the movie.
It's all right. We probably don't need to do spoilers anyway, but
no. I do love the fact that what they did, the storyline they did with the love interest, who, not a spoiler, she's in the previews, so nothing a spoiler there. It is very 80s in a lot of ways that they play that out. So if you've seen a lot of 80s movies, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen a lot of 80s movies, you're going to be, what's he mean? Go rent any John Hughes film and you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. But, stream it, whatever. But the fun part about that is how well they play it, right?
Yeah.
They play it exactly the way a John Hughes film would play it. And so there's this undercurrent of awesome awkwardness.
Yeah.
But then they superimpose the awkwardness of a teenager trying to be a superhero in an adult superhero's world. So you've got this kind of thing where you almost feel sorry that Cap didn't take him under his wing, because Cap was just barely 18 at the beginning of his superhero career.
And at this point, Cap is in Wakanda or something, so Cap is nowhere near.
Right.
Yeah. I actually thought about that a couple of times when I was watching this, because it's not that Tony is a bad mentor. He's a pretty good mentor. Yeah, the spoiler territory, got to stop. But I definitely had those moments where, because I remember watching some animated series and stuff like that where Spider-Man is a huge Captain America fan, and he's always so flabbergasted and honored to meet Captain America. So there's things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think part of the reason they couldn't do that is because they already went there with Coulson in the
that's true.
movies, so they kind of can't go there in this one.
Yeah. Did you have disappointments with this?
I honestly can't think of anything that disappointed me.
The only thing I have, and by the way, just so you hear this clearly, this is a nitpick. My nitpick is, the one thing I liked about the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans and Amazing Spider-Mans, I liked the spider senses. And I liked how you had all those slow motion things. And when you're watching this, you could tell he has spider sense, but they don't make the deal out of it like they did before. And I kind of miss that.
You know, I kind of understand where you're coming from on that.
Love that long pause.
The long pause is legit. I was seriously trying to figure out if there was anything at all that I didn't like about this movie. The movie is very, very solid, and
it really is.
It is a magnificent piece of Spider-Man work from beginning to end. So back to the spider sense thing. I see where you're coming from on it. I see where you're thinking that, you know, I wish I saw more of it. They do kind of play it.
They do.
It gets into spoiler territory, so we're not going to go there.
The problems I had were the runtime was a little too long and some character changes kind of confused me, but it's still great.
Yes, there were some character changes.
I think
again, that's spoiler territory. Can't go there.
Yeah, we can't. But yeah,
and there are rumors that there's a Miles Morales tease in this. That it's rumor. I can't confirm it. I didn't listen to see if anybody was named Miles in this one, or to see if it was a mixed race kid.
I was kind of looking for it because the rumor was Donald Glover.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't really catch that myself, but maybe. But I'm not trying to spoil anything. I didn't really catch any of that.
I didn't see a Miles Morales tie-in, and if there was a Miles Morales tie-in,
yeah.
So I wouldn't expect to see the mantle being passed anytime in the near future.
Yeah, this Peter Parker is too good to pass that mantle off too soon.
And he's young.
Yes,
the post-credit scene.
Yes.
Okay, so per most Marvel movies, there are two. This is not spoiling anything. The first one is going to leave you puzzled.
Yeah.
Fair?
Well, it's funny because without spoilers, we were going back and forth over like, who was that?
Yeah. And then we talked about the purpose of it, right? How maybe the purpose of it is not so much this individual that maybe you saw, maybe you didn't, maybe you know who it is, maybe you don't, as it was to kind of get into Keaton's character a little bit more and to kind of round out something there.
Yeah. But then we came up with something where maybe he was in the movie. The other character was there earlier.
So we welcome theories on that, by the way. Once we get into
just write spoiler alert above your comment if that's what you want to do, because this is a spoiler-free review.
Right. So when Chris does the spoiler talk and the comment section is, don't go there if you don't want to know.
Yeah.
And there is, of course.
What would you rank it? That's a good question. Let's finish this thought, and then I'll come back to my wife, who is commenting in there. What would you? Because she didn't actually come see it. It was a guys' night during our family reunion. It was our guys' night tonight.
And I'm thinking that she's probably saying, "Hey, we're getting a little long, and we should wrap this up." And it's true. We are running a little long here.
It's fun.
So there is a second post-credit scene, and it is hilarious.
It is worth it.
Absolutely hilarious.
Straight up worth it.
Absolutely hilarious. It is the perfect punctuation.
Never ignore the wife. That's your wife leaving that comment there. Never ignore the wifey.
Yeah, never ignore the wifey.
I didn't. I'm circling back.
So
happy wife, happy life. I know this rule.
So I'm going to score it. I'll give it my letter grade. I'm going to say that this is a solid A.
Yeah.
It's not an A+, which would have been knocking it out of the park.
Ryan O'Toole gives it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid ranking.
I think so, yeah.
I'm still in the A camp, and the reason for the A rating is in part because we saw 2 films today. We saw 2 superhero movies.
It was great. We saw Wonder Woman this morning, saw Spider-Man this evening.
Yeah, and as I was telling Chris earlier, I think I personally am suffering from serious superhero movie fatigue. I'm just done with all of this. Everybody's super serious, and so when I've seen the trailers for Thor Ragnarok, and we have the tongue-in-cheek humor of Thor saying that the Hulk is a friend from work.
Yes.
I hear that, and it makes me smile because it feels like they're trying to bring the levity that made Marvel what Marvel is into the universe. And so I'm really excited about that. And I'm going to go with a solid A on this movie.
Yeah, it is really weird trying to compare it, like seeing Wonder Woman today and then seeing this again later. To me, it's like apples and oranges because I like the seriousness and epicness of DC a lot, and I really, Wonder Woman is the best of what they've been able to come out with so far. But this is, again, it's just apples and oranges. It's a totally different game because it was so light, and it was lighthearted, and it was fun. And so, oh man, I have gone back and forth.
Oh man,
I think I'm gonna go with an A-.
Okay.
I don't know what holds me back from the A because I'm still in my little reaction phase, but I feel like there's just something that kind of holds me back a little. But whatever it is, it's nitpicky because
you had a couple of different nitpicks, and I think
and I don't want to say them because they're spoilery, but there's a couple little nitpicks. Ryan, taking a break from comic book movies, LOL, focusing on War for the Planet. Yes, man, I can't wait for War for the Planet of the Apes.
We saw a preview for that before the movie, and I thought, oh my gosh, why have I not been watching these movies? And then I realized I have 2 kids.
Yeah, he hasn't seen the other 2.
Yeah,
gotta get this guy caught up.
But I do have 2 kids, and watching.
That's it. That's a good reason.
Finding time to watch
That's
movies is basically family vacation, and my wife is good about getting me out to the theater, but it's a chore.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. getting anybody out to the theater with kids.
So he lands at an A.
Yep.
I'm landing at an A-.
Yep.
And I think I speak for us both when I say go see this in the theaters. It is so worth seeing. Almost Sideways. I liked it, but I'm still battling how I feel as a film. Wait, I like it, but I'm battling how I feel as a film it actually is. Yeah.
Respectable. It's one of those films that, you're gonna toss it back and forth. I mean, a week from now, I might think it's an A- as I start to think about it more, and as I start to get nitpicky about it. I know Chris is a little nitpicky coming out. He might actually come up to an A if he.
I might, as the reaction settles a little bit,
but as he goes and sees it a second time, which will probably happen.
Yeah, probably will for sure.
It is definitely worth a viewing. Definitely worth a second viewing if you can manage to make that happen.
Yeah, it's definitely a good movie, though. Yeah, I can see why you were mixed. Yeah, there's a few places, but I do think it's better than Guardians 2. Oh man. And Almost Sideways agrees with that. Did you see Guardians 2?
I did see Guardians 2.
I think the story of Spider-Man was better than the story of Guardians 2, but oh man, that's so hard.
Okay, so
that is so hard.
I'm gonna say that I felt like this actually played more with the plot twists than Guardians 2 did.
Definitely.
I think Guardians 2 felt a little predictable to me. I kind of saw things coming. I kind of saw things coming with this too, just because.
Yeah.
You see enough stories, you read enough stories, eventually everything's predictable, unfortunately, but...
This guy used to teach English, so he's read and seen them all.
Yeah, terrible thing to do to a person who's going to go see movies. But I think that Guardians was a little bit lighter on the first one, and a little bit heavier on the second one, and I feel like...
What up, Stevie Cade?
I feel like the second, this Spider-Man managed to catch the lightheartedness that is Spider-Man, that even in the middle of the serious and oftentimes completely nutty stuff that's going on in his universe and in his stories, he manages to somehow, some way, still retain that core of humor where he's just kind of laughing in the face of adversity.
Our other brother-in-law, Paul, and then I'll make this our closing statements, but our other brother-in-law, Paul, who saw it with us, he made a really good point while we were standing out waiting for you guys to come out of the theater, and he's just, oh crap, I'm losing it. What was the point? What were we just talking about?
The lightheartedness of Spider-Man.
Because he's talking about, so the other 2 Spider-Mans are very emotional and can get very heavy. Yes. And he talked about how a lot of that heaviness kind of gets dragged on. This one, it had just enough of that emotional core and just enough of those emotional scenes that, you were with it and you were in it. And then it was just long enough you didn't get tired of it and then went right back into the humor, the action, and the fun.
Agreed.
That was his point. And I was like, dang, that's a good point. I'm gonna steal that for tonight.
It is a good point. It's a really fantastic point. So, what do you think? We call it a night at this point?
I think at this point, we call it a night. So, all of you who joined us live, thank you so very much for joining us live. Good night to you too, Ryan O'Toole. 1 a.m. where you are? Yeah, he's in Boston. It's like...
You're in Boston? Oh, man, you're closer to Spidey's stomping grounds than we are.
Yes. So, good night to everybody. Good morning to some. Oh, in the Philippines, it's 1:30 p.m., so pretty early there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so
you're probably getting ready to buy tickets to see it if it's open internationally.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, so good night, everybody. Keep an eye out. My family's all out, so the next video to look for me, just look for it Saturday at 3. It's going to be my theological analysis of both Rise of the Planet of the Apes and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I had a lot of fun with that one. So that's dropping on Saturday, and maybe sometime within the week, I'll get a Spider-Man spoiler talk. There's a certain person, the Cholo Nerd, who I always do these spoiler talks with, so I got to check on his availability, and hopefully we could get something out of here really soon. So
sounds good.
Yeah, all right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Hit that subscribe button. I'm Durbin.
I'm Daniel.
Thank you for checking out Durbania.